Welcome to another episode of Down the Barrel Podcast with Jimmy and Deano.
And sometimes Jared.
Down the Barrel Podcast is brought to you by the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association
and wolf.report.
Deadnuts Outdoors, creators of the most realistic 2D archery targets on the market. Practice how you hunt. Hit it dead nuts. Visit deadnutsoutdoors.com to gear up.
All right, guys, we're back finally from being out of the studio. And today we're back here with our good friend, Aaron Stonehocker. Thanks for joining us, Aaron. It's been a while.
Yeah, man, thanks for having
probably
me.
Dang near a year since we talked to you last.
Yeah.
And you're with a new company, Deadnuts Outdoors. That's what we're here to talk about today. So I guess my first question would be, how'd you get hooked up with the Deadnuts guys?
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for having me on. It's kind of a slow drag to a short story. So I met Corey over the phone. With my time at Tacticam, I actually had some of our team guys reaching out about their targets, and I'd been seeing them on Facebook here and there and thought they were pretty neat. And anyway, just end up reaching out to their inbox on their website and said, hey, we've got some guys that are interested. And at the time we were looking at doing some different Tacticam team program, looking at doing some different prizes and things for that. So I just reached out to those guys to see if that's something they'd be interested in partnering with us on it. Ended up talking to Corey, I think he called me, and I think we talked on the phone for 2 hours, just an awesome dude. And just got to know him a little bit, heard the story behind the products, and just kind of left it as one of those general cliffhangers of, man, if there's ever anything you need, or just you guys are new to the industry, if there's any way I could ever help, keep me on speed dial, basically. So we had a few text exchanges here and there. He's a huge elk hunter, and he kept me drooling with elk stories and elk pictures over a couple years. And then I had the opportunity to dive a little deeper with these guys here, stepped away from Tacticam last September, and looking to get back in the outdoors industry after a few months, and had the opportunity to reach out to Corey on something a little bit more unrelated, but we just got to picking up where we left off. And he's like, man, I'd love to just pick your brain about what there is to do, and how to dive a little deeper, on the grassroots level side of things with the industry. And I said, man, I'd love to help. So really just kind of reached out to a buddy, and good timing on their end. They were looking to start picking up some steam with their business. Everything was kind of a DTC only, website sales, things like that, running Facebook ads. And I stepped in to, I guess, help them get a little bit more of that grassroots footprint going. So we kind of picked up, I'd say probably December of last year, 2024, and haven't looked back, man. It's been full steam ahead ever since.
Nice. So you still out in, was it DC?
No, thank God. We got out of there. We got out of there left at the beginning of April. So we've been here in Texas, actually. So this is kind of part two of my wife's nurse practitioner doctorate program through the Air Force. So we did 2 years in DC, and then we have a short, 14 months here in Killeen, Texas, out at Fort Hood. Just got rebranded back to Fort Hood from Fort Cavazos. So she's stationed here for a year, basically doing her clinical rotation. So we've got about 14 months here and dealing with the heat, and then we'll go wherever the good old government sends us next.
Well, hopefully someplace good. I mean, because Texas is definitely better than DC. I'll give you that. Yeah, I'm glad you got out of there.
It's way better. It's a little different though, because at least they've got some public ground you can get out to, so that kind of get away from the hustle and bustle. Man, here it's so much private ground and ranches. You think like Texas, it's definitely a hunter's oasis. I mean, the sky's the limit. It's like a mini Africa down here as far as driving around the countryside, and you see all these African animals and these high fences and things. You can hunt pretty much anything you can dream of down here, but it's a lot more pay to play, I guess, than what I had in my head. So definitely trying to figure out our spots for somewhere we can go try chasing some whitetails, maybe some hogs, something like that while we're down here. We'll try to get that figured out without breaking the bank too hard.
Right.
I can imagine. Yeah. It's kind of like Kansas a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of private, very little public at all. Are you able to hunt on Fort Hood? Do they have, opportunities for that?
They do, yeah. So that might be the saving grace here. So Fort Hood, I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but I want to say it's something in the ballpark of like 330,000 acres or something like that. It's,
wow.
it's a massive base. I think it might be the biggest Army installation in the country. And yeah, I mean, with that amount of space, they've got a ton of places you can hunt. And so I've started making some connections out here. I joined 1MO. They're a veteran started nonprofit, One Mission Outdoors. They just put on a bunch of hunting classes and things like that through the base, and they do a bunch of things for archery competitions. They just opened up the very first, membership-based archery range here in the county, I guess, that's ever been done. So that's kind of cool. And anyway, those guys, I've been connected with them. They've been a huge knowledge base for me. And yeah, you can definitely hunt on that base. And I did finally get out yesterday. I got to kick these Air Force terms out of my head. MWR, so it's like the outdoor recreation of the Air Force. They run a couple of big chunks of the base there that the public can even access. You go out, pay a day use fee, you go to the beach, enjoy the lake, stuff like that. But I think on some of that you can hunt too. So I think that'll end up where I spend most of my time and effort this hunting season is getting out there and trying to figure that out. It sounds like you basically put in for like a system, and then you can start applying for different units that you want to go to. And then, you set your dates that you go, and if they get approved, you can head out on those dates so they kind of know where you are, what places you're in, you check in, check out, that kind of thing. And so that should be an experience in itself. And then I've got a couple other like friends of a friend type opportunities that have some private properties. I might be able to go help out and kind of do some land management in exchange for maybe some hunting opportunity as well for maybe deer, hogs, stuff like that.
Sweet, cool.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. Deadnuts. How did Deadnuts get started, and where's their main place located?
Yeah, man. So Deadnuts, about a 4-year-old company, all said and done, out of Montesano, Washington. So their headquarters up in Washington State. They are a father-son, the Daniels family, so father-son team, and the other brothers kind of do some things. They're kind of pictures on the boxes, stuff like that. But Cole and Corey Daniels are kind of the spearheads of it. And basically, they had the opportunity through one of the other businesses, D4 Sports, or like a outdoors promotion-based business. They do swag, apparel, signage, stuff like that. For basically anything you need promoted, they do it. And Corey was wanting to get his up and coming boys shooting at something other than their block target, and not really looking to spend the money you have to get into like life-size elk for 3D. Like I said, they're a huge elk hunting family. And so one day he was dinking around the shop and said, I think I could maybe make a target on some of this fluted poly material that we have, and ended up printing some targets out and getting them in the backyard, having his family go out and shoot at them. Had a kick out of it. So they start having some friends come over, and they were shooting at these life-size elk and bears and deer and everything that they had started dabbling with over time. They had buddies over shooting. They're like, dude, I think you guys could sell these things. These are pretty cool. And so then Cole, his brainchild was the website, all the tech side of things that his dad didn't want to get into. And they got a website launched, and they tossed the products up there, started selling a good handful of them, and then over the last about year and a half, they started sinking some real juice into like the advertising on Facebook and that kind of stuff to kind of start letting the world know about them a little more. And sales kept cranking, and then now we're here today where we've got a full-blown dealer program. We're involved with some conservation groups that you'll start seeing some targets at conservation banquets around the country. Just had a call today with Rocky Mountain Goat Alliance. Might be doing some cool stuff with those guys, and just getting them out there, getting them in front of people a little bit more than just seeing them on the website, advertising. Right. So.
Yeah, no, ever since you contacted us, and got us some product, and I've been shooting the target for, a couple months now. Yeah. And I think they're great, and they're cool because, they're life size, and the pictures on these things are just awesome. Yeah. I was really amazed at even, because when you think about it at first, it's like, okay, how long is this thing going to last? Is it durable? Well, I left it out on my big block target for 2 months, and that was I probably got it maybe into March. So, we were up and down in temps. It got snowed, rain. It blew off the target 2 or 3 times, found it in the mud, picked it up, wiped it off. I don't know. It's still in pretty good shape. It looks like the day I took it out of the box. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And the holes that it puts in it are just minimal. So it works really nice. These things they're great.
Well, they're fun to shoot.
They are fun to shoot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I kind of like it sounds like I'm already forgetting his name, Corey's kids, sick of them just shooting at the block target. That can get old after a while. And I just love having the life-size target where there's not that like obvious vital zone circle, like just aim for the dot. This is like real life hunting training. Like you need to have a basic understanding of deer, bear, elk anatomy to know where you should be aiming. And I just think that's a lot of fun.
Right. And that brings up the
Vital X.
The Vital X. Yeah, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, especially when you're looking at elevated shots and stuff.
Right.
But we should let Aaron explain what the Vital X is.
Right.
I'm sure he could do a better job.
Way better, yeah.
No, you guys are nailing it. But yeah, 100%, man. Their mantra is hit the spot, not the dot. And like you said, the images that they choose, they're really picky about, like I said, if you're going to blow these things up to be life size elk, bear, mule deer, whitetail, pronghorn, whatever, it's got to be extremely high resolution. And the thing that blows my mind every time I get out and shoot it, just like you guys said, is like you can see the hairs on the animal. So it's just like you're at full draw looking through your peep at a real animal. You're literally picking the hair or the spot in the hair that you're trying to shoot at, just like you're looking at a real animal. And then, kind of taking that experience to the next level is their Vital X series. So they partnered with a company called Quiv AR. It's kind of a play on words there for the archery world. And basically, this allows you to take your 2D target, you shoot your arrow, you walk up, and you can, if you have an iPhone, as of right now, it's an iOS only program. They're working out all the Android stuff currently. But you can take your iPhone, you tap the quiver chip on the back of the target and step back, and it'll actually give you the real internal anatomy of what that animal is, just like an X-ray machine, basically, with your phone. So you can scan the target, you can walk 360 degrees around your target, and it follows you with it, just like you're looking at a real 3D anatomy of that animal. And now they've got it where when your arrow's in the target, you can scan your arrow too. And so it'll actually show you like the pass-through line and all the vital organs that you would have hit or touched or nicked or missed. As that arrow trajectory is. So you talked about, maybe shooting from a tree stand. It's going to show you the arrow's trajectory through the animal, the organs that you would have hit or missed in there, any angle you can imagine. So yeah, that's a huge upgrade to that. Just the tech in general. The point is to get you shooting at as real as you can to an animal. But now you can actually see, okay, like this is why this was or was not a great shot, or how could I have done that a little different to make that a better shot.
Right.
Yeah. So I was just saying, you can adjust the layers, and you could say like, all right, let's take the bones out, let's take the guts out, and basically you could get it down to just I only want to see the heart and where my arrow is in relation to that heart, and I just think it's so cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I usually end up leaving the guts on mine.
Yeah. Dean leaves it so it's just guts, and he just tries to avoid those.
Yes.
He doesn't care about shoulder blade, whatever. Just don't hit the guts.
Yep, pretty much. And that arrow trajectory, that new thing, that's pretty cool. I guess I haven't. I need to update the app and check that out, because I guess I didn't see that. But it's been
a few weeks.
It has been a few weeks. So, no, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
One thing to keep in mind, they're 2D at life size, which is very cool. But you just have to have a target behind them, obviously. So I'm lucky enough. I've got a huge block target, at least for my one deer right now. So it works out good, because if I miss, I got a big area to miss for. But I've been seeing pictures and videos to where, all you need, every archer has a little small block, the black block target.
Yeah.
What is it, 2x2?
I don't even know what's that, but something like that.
Yeah. So that's all you need to put right behind your vital area, and that's what you're aiming for all the time. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, all you need is a backstop to go with it. And like you said, if you've been in archery and you got your bow, more than likely you've got some backstop at home, whether it's a block target, a bag target, that washed up old 3D target you have. There's a lot of body left on it that, maybe you've blown the midsection out, but the body's still good. Toss it. You're going to screw it to the back of that and call it a day. Is anything that'll stop your arrow? You just put this up on the front of it, and it brings it to life.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, when we were at an event, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
An archery event. And I forget if it was you, Dean, or you, Jared, that shot we had that challenge shoot with was it Whitetail Willie?
Yep.
The Deadnuts target.
Right. Which one of you guys shot that? Was that you? Dean?
Both of us did.
You did?
Both did.
And I remember every shot we went up and checked it with the quiver or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. To see who got the best gut shot.
And Dean, it was 5 arrows.
Yeah.
Dean got 5 gut shots. I had 3 double lungs and 2 hearts.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just neat to walk up there so we could compare who actually got the better shot.
right.
Because we're all in the kill zone, but like you could see who hit the heart. Yeah. So that was pretty neat. I like that.
Yeah, it's very cool. And so we did it as a challenge shot for this archery fundraiser event, and it was a popular.
Yeah.
A lot of people showed interest in those targets.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah.
And we had it at what, 40, was it 42, 41 yards?
30. It was 30.
Oh,
yards.
30?
Yeah.
So, it's got that little thin line around
The vitals.
your vitals. But at 30 yards, you can't see that. So,
Right.
again, you're
So
aiming
it's
for the
like you're
spots.
actually hunting.
Yeah. Yep. That's the cool part about it. And I think that's what everybody liked about that target, too.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
So.
Yeah.
No, it was fun.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, and they've actually upgraded that. So that little thin line you're talking about, they had that the original targets. Like when I got into them, for example, they had that thin line that kind of outlines your general, like covers the heart and usually like the main body of the lungs on whatever the animal is, and then they'd have their like I don't know about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of space around that, and that was actually your core cutout. But guys, because that area can get pretty big with guys shooting at it like it's a real animal. You're not trying to pick one tiny spot on that animal, like a 3D or something that has a little circle. So the pattern of your arrows can be pretty big, and you can end up shooting out what they call the donut, which is like the back of that vital zone that you stick the vital against. They actually upgraded all their vitals to like it's a kind of that rounded square cutout. So your core that you use replaceable is a lot bigger, so there leaves a lot more margin for error, but it still leaves that vital line in there. So that's kind of an upgrade they did to that vital section too. That's really nice. But and then if you really want to compete with your buddies, like you said, go up, tap it with your phone, and see who got closest to the heart, or pick an artery on the heart, or whatever you want to do, and who gets the highest score. That way, it's kind of a fun little game because you ultimately don't know what you hit until you scan it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, you're all really close, but
But I always win.
I forget who had the closest, but I know one of you guys did hit the heart.
Jared did have the closest on that one. He did.
Well, that makes sense because you were shooting for 41. It sounds like when the target was
Right?
Yeah, he didn't even know. We told him 41. It was actually 30.
always bring your own rangefinder.
I get cheated
Rule number
every
1.
time. I get cheated. Yeah, they were probably trying to move the target on me too. So
Right. And another thing I like is you guys have a great variety of animals to shoot at. I mean, from what we have in the office, we have turkeys, bears, elk. Do we have a mule deer?
we have a mule deer.
We have a mule deer. I don't know if we have a goat. Do we?
We didn't pick up a pronghorn. No.
Yeah. So I really want to get the bear one myself because I finally got my bear tag this year, and it's like that'd be great practice.
Well, I haven't even seen a goat one. Like, do you have a goat one, or is this something you're going to make for Rocky Mountain goat?
Yeah, so they had a mountain goat in development over the last year, and it did a silent launch. Like I didn't even know it was out. I knew they were doing it in the background. And I was doing something else one day, and I was cruising the website looking for something on there, and I was like, when did they launch the mountain goat? They didn't tell me. So immediately I was like, I got to reach out to these guys and get the pricing for the dealers and everybody else. Yes, we do have a mountain goat out now, Billy the mountain goat. I've got mine on my way. It's supposed to be here, I think, tomorrow. So I can't wait for that one to show up. That's a dream hunt of mine, and can't wait to be poking holes in that guy. But yeah, we've got the mountain goat kind of outside your, like you said, whitetail, mule deer, and on the mule deer and whitetail and elk, we actually have and the pronghorn antelope. We have different variations of those targets too, because it's one thing to shoot at a broadside target. It's another thing to shoot at a quartering away animal, or even a quartering two in some cases, like an animal like an elk. That's becoming a more, I guess, talked about thing is the frontal shot, depending on what you get presented with. But they do have a frontal facing elk as well, so you have a chance to get all the different looks that you might find in the field versus just shooting broadside all the time. But yeah, you got antelope. You got mountain goat now. You've got a bighorn sheep, and they do actually have a full-size grizzly bear as well. So that thing's I need to get one of those. I don't have one of those yet, but apparently it's a monster. Like it's gigantic.
I can imagine. Yeah, especially
awesome.
Yeah, that would be fun. I think what they need to do, and I don't know if you can even get sheets this big, a moose. I want to do a moose. That'd be fun.
I mean,
I'd get one of those.
I can't confirm or deny that of some new animals coming. So that thing would be, if a moose is coming, it could only be gigantic. So
Yes, that
I'm
would be
gonna
awesome.
I'm gonna hold off for the launch of the Sam Squanch.
That'd be cool too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
It'd be a good time to do it with all those videos on
that's
TikTok
right.
and whatnot.
right?
That's definitely
Absolutely.
popular. You sell a bunch of them. Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Yeah, that mountain goat's pretty cool looking.
Oh yeah.
he's
yeah.
awesome, man. He just launched, and like I said, I just had a call before this podcast actually with Rocky Mountain Goat Alliance. So we're putting some cool creative stuff together for doing something kind of neat with those guys as well, kind of like we do with Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and stuff like that. So
Right. Yeah. And speaking of the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association, I know, Dean, that you had said, and I don't know if all the organizations can do this or how it is, but you can do custom images too, right?
yeah, we can. And so, it's that was one of the things, talking with Corey originally, and I first got my hands on my first targets, and, my time in the outdoors industry, I've done a little bit of everything for the companies I've worked for. But the thing that was kind of always nearest and dearest to my heart was working with the conservation organizations and in the marketing world. And I was a park ranger before I got picked up to work in the outdoors industry. And so that's always kind of right up my wheelhouse. But anyway, I took one look at this, and I'm like, every organization for basically every animal we have has some sort of a foundation around it, right? And I'm like, I don't know why you couldn't just get these involved in every outdoors conservation group. But yeah, we do custom stuff, man. So, on the shorter term, because this is the first year that we've partnered with conservation groups, so we've got some dollars going in sponsorships to different organizations like the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association, and we actually work with super cool dudes like Dean to put together custom packages. So yeah, coming soon.
Now I know you're full of shit.
How much did you pay him to say that?
There's no money exchange hands.
Okay. All right. Let's
just
keep
sent me
rolling.
a
Dean's cool.
bottle of that bourbon you're sipping on. But yeah, it's coming soon to a Minnesota Deer Hunter Association chapter near you, and you guys might have the opportunity to get a one-of-a-kind exclusive branded Deer Hunters Association whitetail package. So we'll have a couple of our whitetail willies in there that are customized only. You can only find them at these chapters, but then some of the other stuff we're working on behind the scenes is going to be truly getting, maybe a custom one-of-a-kind animal maybe as early as next year that you guys only at your events would see. So the public one, you can be able to see it on the website or anything. So a lot of cool opportunities there. When you're using, things like what we do with images of real animals, you can get pretty darn creative with it. And, at the end of the day, the more exclusive it is, the more money we can raise to help support your guys' missions. And that's kind of what it's all about. So it's just, it's my gears turning, and guys like Dean's gears turning, and all going to a good cause, man. So we're all about supporting that however we can.
Yeah, you heard it here first. You can get your very own Dean's gut shot deer target.
We'll call that one
Special. Nothing but
we'll call that
guts.
one we'll call that one the beer belly Willie.
There you go. There you go. It'll kind of look like one of those zombie deer, but the guts are coming out.
Right. We're gonna have to get Quiver to go into more detail on the guts for that one.
Exactly.
As soon as you go over to the guts, it's just my face right there. Pops out like Fonzie. Hey.
No, but that is cool that you can do custom stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you got a deer, your deer you've been watching forever, you can get that guy printed out,
At some point.
and shoot at it.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and it's really cool that you guys work with the conservation groups and, put logos on everything, and you give back to all the conservation groups too, that you work with. So that's really awesome. And we actually sent some of the Deadnuts targets to our four-corn camps this year.
We did.
Yeah.
So we're hoping and waiting till those are going on currently as we speak. So hopefully kind of at the end of those, we'll get some really good photos
and some
of
good
the kids
feedback
and
on
get
them.
some good feedback. Yeah. Cause
Get about
I know
1,000 kids shooting at them this summer.
right? Then we'll see really how durable they are. And my kid, he loves to shoot it.
Well, and our nephew's going down to the Four Corn camps.
Yeah.
Like in the next
Couple
day or
weeks.
two. No.
Yeah, actually this
Next
weekend,
week?
I think.
Is it this weekend?
I think it's this
Yeah,
weekend.
so he'll give us a good report because
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll have to make sure Neil takes him out for him. Let him shoot
Yep.
at them.
Yeah, because that would be cool. So we donated those. I know some whitetail willies. I know I sent a few turkeys because the camps requested those just for something different. So hopefully we can kind of keep that going. And I think it's great.
Yeah, I think they're
that's what it's
really
all
good
about.
educational pieces for sure.
For sure.
I was saying, and that's where the heart of this company is. It was started to educate youth hunters coming up on again, shooting that real animal, getting as many reps as you can, and as a realistic target backdrop as you can, and different looks that you can, and all that good stuff. And with you guys having those 4-corn camps like you do, I don't think there's a better fit for giving back to something like that. That's right where the heart of Deadnuts is.
Absolutely. And then with that quiver, I mean, the kids can see that and learn about the anatomy of the deer.
Yeah. Well, and I just think it's awesome that kids, when they're just getting started, to have to shoot at a target that isn't a dot,
Right.
They have to learn, and they do learn the basics of deer anatomy in an ethical kill shot, but to have to then put that into practice.
Right.
Because when we were at that event a few weeks back, it was interesting, because the archery community, while not as big as it should be, there's a lot of different types of archers out there.
Right.
There's the people that just go and shoot at their range, or they just shoot 3D, or they're avid hunters and they go to the range for practice. And you could tell who those people were as soon as they got to the Deadnuts challenge shot, because either they were lined up, full draw, that arrow's flying, or they were, well, where do I aim?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
It's like, well, first time not shooting at a block. Here's what we're going to do.
This is kind of the area you're going to shoot at.
Yeah.
You can show them why.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the kids really love it.
Yeah, and it's even a little
How
different.
cool is it? I mean, you're going to get bored shooting at a block. Yeah. And they're so realistic.
Yeah,
Like you said, you can see right down to the hairs.
Yeah.
Well, and the other nice thing is the price point and everything. So, you go buy a Glendale buck.
Right.
They're not cheap. They're huge. They're heavy. You're putting it in one spot. You're not moving it around.
Right.
Or at least not as much.
No.
And you're still aiming. You're not aiming for that spot. You're still just aiming for the dot. And those Glendale bucks aren't exactly anatomy correct?
Anatomically. That's a big word.
It is a big word. There's a lot of N's and A's in it. But to where with the Deadnuts, it's obviously realistic. You can move it around, and price point is better.
Well, and you can store it easily.
Right.
That's
It
what I
fits
like.
in a box.
It fits in a box. I mean, that's why I like, because I actually have a Glendale buck. And for the first couple of years, I did take that thing in and out of the house, and it is a pain in the butt. It's heavy, it's big. And I know, I mean, you've been shooting the Deadnuts targets now for months.
Yeah.
And put it in a box, put it in the garage.
Yep.
Easy.
Yep.
I mean, I've had one in my truck for 2 months.
Probably my target.
It probably is your target.
Yeah, man, that's kind of the unique thing too. So you're talking a full size elk, a full size bear, full size deer, and like you said, you get into 3D. And they're I don't think anyone argues that it's fun to shoot at 3D targets, but man, it's definitely something to talk about. They got to stay outside and get weather beaten over a year or two before the foam starts degrading out of them, because they are a pain to move in and out, or you get a storm in a shed or whatever, and they're just the space they take up. We get a lot of like hunters education people and groups and things that are out there, or NASP programs that are starting to look at Deadnuts because the storage space it takes to host a 3D use of stuff.
Right.
But yeah, you can. I mean, I think I've got 10 targets now back there, and we moved from Maryland just at the beginning of April. Here we moved here, and my entire range came with me. I've got 3 blocks. I've got one Sever like a dense foam block, and 2 standard Morel like foam targets or whatever. So my 3 backstops came with me, and then I've got my 10 animals that came with me too. I packed them up, and I think the box, I took a video of it when we moved. The box is about that thick. I don't know what's 6 inches thick, and I've got 10 full size animals folded up in there, and pick and choose the one I want to shoot that day, and go toss it on the backstop and just let her rip.
So do you have an elk too? I mean, because those things are pretty big.
Yeah. Yep. I've got the broadside bull out there now is what I've been shooting at the last couple of weeks. And they've got a quartering away and a frontal bull as well. So just kind of depending on the look you want to practice, I'll be shooting a little video, I think, here before long out of that 1 MO range. I'm going to have all 3 of the elk lined up just to show you, people what the different looks look like and how you can practice, all 3 on real life size, full size elk, just practice all 3 looks in one range session. But yeah, they are pretty big.
Yeah, and we took one out just to see it.
Yeah.
At the office, and their life. I'm assuming I've never really seen an elk life, but it's impressive.
Pretty real. Yeah.
Yeah. They're awesome, and they pack down so small.
Right. I mean, you've shot an elk, so you've seen the target. So
it's pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, my elk was bigger, but
well, come on.
I also only shoot archery.
I heard you bought that off somebody.
Yeah, right. But no, so I used to run education centers out in Colorado, and at one of them we had like a full 3D archery range, and the bears up there loved to attack our 3D archery targets. And so it was every morning, get a group of instructors around, and you got to go hike out to the shed. You got to pull out the 3D targets. You got to set up the range. Kids go out and they shoot and have a great day out there. But then every evening they have to go back into the shed, and it was like an 8-person job, and it would take like an hour to do that.
I suppose.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to call them, and Angie there, she runs the archery program. I'm going to get her connected with you because I think they would appreciate those targets.
Yeah, I suppose moving them around for sure.
Right.
So were those black bears or grizzlies?
Black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't have any grizzlies in Colorado.
Really? I didn't know that.
Last I checked, the official grizzly population estimate in Colorado was 0.5 grizzly bears.
Well, that's more than Minnesota.
Right. It's because there was one grizz right on the Wyoming-Colorado border that at any given time they didn't know which side it was on.
Okay. See, you learn something every day.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, no, we'd love
you
to
guys
connect
have a grizzly target.
We do. Yep. Yeah, we've got a grizzly target. If it's full size, like I said, that's the one target I don't have. So I've got to get the grizzly out here, and it's a monstrosity from what I've heard. So I might have to move my targets a little bit further from my shed to make it work. But we do have a club range program as well. So anybody that is out there that maybe has a range or they're connected to a local club and they think this would be a good fit, we've got a program built specifically for that as well. So definitely shoot those our way.
That's awesome. So we talked a little bit about your work with various conservation groups. Do you mind sharing who all you're working with? I mean, obviously MDHA. It sounds like soon to be the Rocky Mountain Goat Alliance Foundation. Mm-hmm. Who else is on your radar?
Yeah, man. So the Minnesota Deer Hunter Association, we're the very first partnership in the conservation space with Deadnuts. So super, super proud stamp on that one. Way to go, Dean. And so definitely excited about that. The second in line there was the Arizona Mule Deer Organization. They came on, got a bunch of targets for their youth hunting camps as well. They do have a custom mule deer package coming to their events for last year. Actually, we got one in this year. They have one more event here actually this weekend, the 28th, so 2 days out. Some lucky winner down there is going to win some custom mule deer targets for those guys. We put together a custom package, and then in the 26th, that same package will be available. So Arizona Mule Deer Organization, Whitetails Unlimited. We just did the product showcase with those guys, so we're on the national sponsor list with them. And then Rocky Mountain Goat Alliance. I just got done with that initial phone call today, but it sounds like we're going to do some really cool stuff with those guys. So that'll be number 4 here in year 1. And we've reached out to just about everybody in my Rolodex and got conversations started. So it's just more a matter of finding the right fit for partnership. And each organization's a little different on how they structure with sponsorship and product showcases and things like that. So we're open to anything. And like I said, we're rooted in conservation and in education. And so any way we can get involved to support the bigger mission behind what all of you guys do, we'll partner with anybody that we possibly can in that space. So definitely looking forward to getting creative. It's a smaller company, like I said, a little bit more of a startup. So as marketing budgets grow, opportunities to support more of what you guys do grows, and just like getting the products involved and however we can. It's just kind of fun. And like I said, big, huge stamp to MDHA for being number one.
Yeah. No, we're pretty proud of that.
I guess for the first time ever, and I might throw up while I say this, but
You said it a few weeks ago.
way to
actually.
go, Dean.
You said it a few weeks ago. You were proud of it.
That was a lie.
That was probably a lie. But, no, I love the targets. I think they're great. And one thing I was going to ask, and I know we've talked about it. So obviously they're mainly meant for archery, but you can shoot it, with a rifle.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
no backstop.
Right.
Yeah. And then on the backstop note too, so
Do you
we'll
get
get a couple
minis
things.
that-
So yes, I mean, you can use these for whatever. Yeah, we do get some that shoot it with rifle. Actually, I'm soon to be one of them. I need to get mine out and get it on the rifle range. I've got a kind of a standard gong and chain setup that I want to toss behind it. We've got some long range shooting schools that actually use them as well, so they'll toss them out, on more of like their lifestyle ranges, or some of them do it on the actual the 100 to 1,000 yard like incremental flat range as well, where they toss like a gong behind their steel target, and you get the report out of it, but it looks like you're shooting at a real animal, so it's kind of setting people up for the hunting scenario. They do offer banner targets as well, and so that's another popular thing we get in the rifle world, because those actually come with like you almost like a shoot and see target. You can actually do like the adhesive vinyl repair on those, so that's a popular choice there for those guys. But yeah, and then in terms of a backstop, coming soon to a MDHA or wherever near you, we will be having a backstop of our own. And so that's the initial design on that's going to be a crossover backstop. So it's going to be archery and rifle or firearm, whatever you're shooting at it with, I guess. But that'll be a really cool addition to this lineup. But yeah, to answer your question, it's kind of similar on the rifle side as it is on the arrow side. The hole that the bullet puts in is 100% dependent on the size of the bullet you're shooting. So the core vital section should last you quite a while, and it's just as simple as popping it out with the replacement when that one gets shot out. So
Yeah, I mean, that would last you a lifetime, Dean.
It would, because I only shoot once a year.
And
for
in
my
the,
rifle.
and in the guts.
Still on, boy.
because
Let's go.
I never hit the vital area with my rifle either. I usually aim for just above the head.
Just headshot.
Yeah, it's easier. Or a foot. I've shot the foot off of my target a lot.
It doesn't have feet.
Exactly.
So the backstop that you mentioned, you said archery and firearm. Can you talk about that a little bit? I mean, what does that look like?
So it's not top secret, but it's classified. So we'll be a little proprietary on that. But basically the concept is that you'll be able to buy one backstop and use your target for anything is the concept. Cool. So definitely looking forward to more of that coming out, and hopefully by 26 we'll be seeing those hit the market. So that'll be a pretty neat addition. Kind of complete it, right? Because the only thing you need with a Deadnuts target now is a backstop. So for people that maybe don't have a backstop, or instead of buying two different backstops for different applications, you can just get the Deadnuts backstop and call it a day.
Yeah.
Nice.
When you said we're talking about the backstop, I was picturing back to our tour of APF. Was that 2 weeks ago now?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They had that, what did they call that machine? The bullet capturing machine.
Yeah.
That thing was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would never pull a trigger into that, but apparently it's safe.
Well, I'm sure they've done it a few times.
Well, yeah, but like you're shooting a 300 Win Mag, like 6 inches, and it just tumbles the bullet and it spits it out the bottom. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that machine was like $1 million. So I'm hoping the backstops are a little cheaper than that.
Well, slightly.
Right.
Yeah. No, that would be handy addition for sure to have that option on the website.
You bet.
So
Along with the moose.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose there's no real, but what's your top seller? I mean, would it be like the whitetail willie, or is it the elk?
You nailed them. Got one, number one, number two. So whitetail willie, it goes. I think the broadside elk outperforms the whitetail willie as of right now. So broadside elks are the most popular, and then you have the whitetail willie series, broadside and quartering way, and then the mule deer is a third. So the smallest seller that we have, except for I'd say the billy goat, because that guy just launched, is the turkey actually. So turkey is the least popular target that we have, but that was a little strange to me when I was talking to these guys. They're from Washington, right? And so like I started talking to them about the turkey hunting demographic in the Midwest and the East Coast and the South, and they're like, "What are you talking about? Like people hunt those?" Like it was like mind blowing to them that that's something they knew that was something people hunted, but like the turkey hunting culture for them was way. They had no idea how big that cult following is. So that's something that we're working on as well, is getting those exposed to more turkey hunters, and I think you'll see that pick up. And the cool part with that is they're smaller, so there is a 2-pack that they're putting together. So you get 2 turkeys for the same price. You get like one of your deer targets, for example, and the kill zones are a little smaller, so you get 4 kill zones instead of the 2 that you get with like a deer or an elk. So your turkey target should ideally last you a lifetime.
Yeah, so I was saying, at least the turkey hunters that I know around here, the vast majority shotgun hunt,
Correct.
Right? And I mean, I think the Deadnuts targets are super durable, and you could probably pattern your gun a handful of times on there. But when you're patterning a gun, a shotgun, it's pretty hard to know which shot belongs to which time you pulled the trigger, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think until you really identify that archery turkey hunting community, which we all are a part of.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta really target the archery turkey hunters for those targets to take off. And then I think, that's my next target I'm going to buy is the turkey.
Yeah.
Because it's just such a great one to practice on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're spot on, because it's a dedicated archery target. And, when we first kind of hit the ground running with the conversation of dealers and, ranges and all this stuff, it was really easy to go excited on like, anybody can shoot these. But at the end of the day, like right now, it's true to that core of the archery community. At the end of the day is what these are set up for, ideally. And then when you get to the turkeys, the first thing I told them was, if you guys really want to get and bite the head off this turkey thing, like you need to get a replaceable head on one of these turkeys and let the guys just blow it off.
That's right.
And then, because that, you're able to shoot the head off your turkey. And then, like you said, get your pattern down or whatever. So that may or may not be in development as well. So.
Right. Well, and even the archery hunters, there's so many people out there with, what do they call those, cleaver broadheads or
guillotines?
Whatever? Guillotines.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So maybe the head just needs to ball off. And it just flip, like a flip down, flip up situation.
Exactly.
Right. Flip top head.
Feels like tackle dummies, just bounces back.
Right.
Would be awesome.
Bad idea.
Hey, if you ever need an idea guy, I'm here.
Hey, that's all we need, right? Is idea guys.
You didn't say good ideas.
Yeah.
Just ideas. I do not guarantee that any of them will be good.
Hey, we can always try.
Yeah, but so far the flip down turkey head and Sasquatch target, those are free.
Okay.
I'll start charging you from here on out.
No, you got it. Yeah, we'll be nice and give you some royalties on those ones either way.
I might have to send just a picture of Jared too.
That would be cool. Now you're talking.
Target,
Right? Jared Target.
That would be awesome.
go for it.
No, I think they're cool targets. I think everybody should get one. I can't wait till I start seeing them in more places. Obviously, I really want to only see them in our store.
Right.
But, just to get more places and more conservation groups is awesome, and have people, shoot them all the time. So.
Right. Well, Dean, what you can take out of this is if you do start seeing them everywhere else, you were the first, bud.
I was the first.
You were the first.
Boom.
You were the first.
I'm gonna get that on a shirt.
There you go. We're struggling today,
Man.
Yeah, you guys were the first, and then you guys you're the first conservation group, and I think you were number 5 on the dealer list, because you guys are unique in that you have a pro shop for your guys' conservation org. So that's
right.
your top 5 all the way across the board, no matter how you cut that cookie. So
Heck yeah.
Way to go, Dean.
That's about the only time I've been top 5 ever.
Hey, there you go.
you're clearly not top 5 archers in the state, from what I'm understanding. So.
Yeah. No. Right.
Dean, I am trending towards a proud feeling in your direction.
Trending thing. I'm going to put that on a
Skewed
t-shirt.
toward that.
Yeah, exactly. I see how it is. Yep. No, I don't know. Is there what else?
Yeah, I want to know what else is Dead Nuts. I mean, is there other? I mean, you definitely agreed that there's a moose coming. I heard that. You got this.
He said he cannot confirm
I know.
or deny,
I'm just
but
going
we
with
know
he's
what it
definitely
means.
agreed. I'm waiting for the moose. Bullwinkle, let's call him that.
Yeah, Bullwinkle.
They got the backstop coming, which is top secret. I'm looking forward to that. Is there anything else? Any other thing we can talk about?
Flying targets for flu arrows. You know, you got grouse
Frisbee
grouse
targets.
society.
I like
you got Ducks Unlimited.
Yep.
These people need to get involved too.
That would be sweet for the flu community. Call it the flu mallard
Right.
or flu drake. That'd be sweet. We've got they actually kind of fun fact, I guess, a little bit off the archery side of things, but as far as ducks go, they actually have utilized their same technology to make wings for some of your motion decoy companies, which has been pretty sweet. So you've probably seen decoys out there that, unbeknownst to anybody, had technically Dead Nuts, or I guess D4 Sports was producing the wings on some of those. So that's kind of neat. But yeah, new
sense.
target ideas all the time. We're in no short supply of ideas. So that's why we're just not in the budget paying space of giving you guys money for ideas right now. But the ideas are huge. It's the development that takes a while. So there's more that goes into these. You know, they kind of seem like a really simple thing, but even since I've been with them, it's kind of surprising how much development goes in there, from finding the right images and the right animal for the most part, and then because everything's based around education, so you got to have the highest res, and you got to have muscle definition and different things that they look for in these photos to pick the ones they pick, and then from there converting that to the image stuff that they need to make it print right, and the colors that go into it and all the stuff. It's a pretty complex process actually, and then they have it's a really small team. So like I said, it's a father-son team, and myself, I kind of do hybrid marketing sales for these guys, help them build programs, things like that. But then other than that, there's 2.5 guys in their warehouse out of Washington that are dedicated to the Dead Nuts brand. And they do everything from printing the targets, cutting them out by hand. They do all the packaging. They, each box is individually packaged and stickered. And, from start to finish, it's a very hands-on type of a product, I guess. So it's kind of neat, supporting that small American business and 100% made in the USA. Can't really ask for more, but definitely a small operation right now. So you're really supporting the grassroots level American dream here.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about cutting them out. So they do it by hand.
Yeah, so
that's impressive.
They started doing by hand. So like some of the cuts now, they've got some of their machinery will cut them out, so like the actual outlines and stuff.
Okay.
But the all the targets do fold up, so all those fold cuts are hand cut in the target, and they've got to be precisely aligned and all that. All your vinyl is cut on hand, and so they have a lot of stuff that is still very hands on. And obviously, as they get more business and can grow and scale, some of that stuff will get a little bit less, but it's a very hands-on process.
I hope so. Right. Because me and you, we've handled several of these targets. We've opened the boxes, and those are some of the most secure boxes I've ever seen in my life.
I'm glad someone else said
they do that by hand.
Hurts.
Oh my God.
If you
need a blowtorch.
if you're looking for some cost savings, packaging, man, it's
tape. Use tape.
I am.
Yep.
Hold on. Can you say that again? I'm going to record this live for Corey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Glue is evil.
Dude, it's surprising. And their new boxes are a little bit tougher than their old ones. So that's I got my first like the new version target the other day in the mail. I was shooting some videos for the dealers, and I was going to shoot an unboxing, and I started tearing into it. I'm like, I stopped the camera, dude. So I'm like, I'm breaking a sweat. My knuckles are bleeding. I was like, holy crap. But,
right?
Yeah. The targets will show
if you
up.
order one of these targets,
Go ahead.
exactly, they're going to show up in pristine condition.
Yep.
not even UPS can fuck that up.
Oh God, no!
Right?
God, no!
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
and it shows you how they're folded up into these boxes
Perfectly,
Yeah,
perfectly, and they do that by hand.
yeah. And then when you unfold them, there's no creases in the print at all. It's awesome, and you can. And I've pulled mine in and out of the box. I don't know, at least half a dozen
kinds of
times,
times, yeah.
And every time I pull it out, you just stick it together, flop the legs down, boom. And actually probably after 20 minutes, the legs just stay down, because, if they're in the sun or whatnot. But otherwise, it's really cool.
Yeah, they do a heck of a job.
I'm
if they
surprised.
do that by hand.
Yeah.
I mean, I was assuming there was some fancy computerized equipment that was doing this stuff.
Yeah, that just spits out like a gallon of super glue on every crease.
Oh my God, right? Like knife proof super glue.
Yeah. It almost is knife proof. I tell you what, I had to get the actual
Angle gun.
So kudos to the packaging department. Whoever's doing that.
They're crushing it. Yeah. They need to start their own company just packaging. It's
They got that down pat.
the material is sweet. Like you said, it doesn't crease. And that was one of the things when they were in the development stages, finding the right material to face these things with. And it gets the print quality, gets the colors right, doesn't fade over time. So I'm on year number 3, and all my targets had in Maryland, had them in the woods, so they didn't get the morning sun, but they got all the noon and afternoon sun all day. And then here in Texas, we're on almost in the month number 3 now. In Texas, we get all day sun in our backyard here, and they're rock solid. So, the material on that won't fade on you, which is awesome. It's going to maintain that lifelike quality for as long as you. I'm on year number 3, and all my targets look like I got them out of the box yesterday, with the exception of the few stray Dean holes I've got in them. But and then they don't crease, which is cool, because that was another thing too. It's like, you don't, when you're picking a spot, not the dot, the concept, you can't, the less stuff that'll happen to the front of that target, the better. So the material doesn't crease on you, and that's an intentional choice of material, because if you start getting creases, you start seeing lines, and you start getting different things on there that take away from that realism. And that's just something that they did a really good job picking the right material for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and these things, they have full cutout antlers. Ready to rock. Yeah. And once you get that box open, you're going to realize the quality these guys put into it.
Yeah.
The quality goes right into those targets, and these things are rock solid.
Maybe they need maybe they can monetize that box. Actually, they just have an unboxing service. They'll send someone out to your house for $20 and unbox it and set it up for you.
Yeah, they can charge that extra for that.
We'll get a rep in each state, and that's their only job.
Come open the box. I was wondering if there was some trick or something.
No, I'm glad you guys said it out loud, and I'm glad it's going to the public. This is a public awareness announcement. It is.
Right.
Yep.
They're the most secure boxes in the industry. I guarantee
Right.
it.
I never knew cardboard could be so tough.
It's I don't know what glue they use, man, but it's rock solid. That is for sure.
Right. And they must own some kind of stock in that company. It's all over.
Yeah, shout out to Leroy and the boys for
Right. Good job.
Yeah, no, that's great targets.
Yeah, check them out. If you're an archery shooter, you should definitely check them out. You want to, especially around here. How else are you going to get a elk target at that price point?
Right. That's the other thing. You're not going to be able to get an elk target at that price point.
Right.
That you can move around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I've been seeing on Facebook and, some of you guys' marketing and everything. And it's, kudos to your marketing department for some of the shots they've been taking. They've got elk out there at 30, 40 yards, just barely seeing, and it's like that looks like a real elk when you first see it, and it's so realistic. It's awesome.
Technically, it is a real elk. It's a picture.
Technically, it is. Yeah,
right.
True.
Well, I've never hunted with a deer decoy, but I'm tempted to try it.
Yeah,
with a Deadnuts target, like it's that realistic, and. It's amazing.
Yeah, man. And
we should put one out in front of a trail cam just to see what happens.
I would absolutely.
I'm going to do that to my dad's trail camera.
Right.
There you go.
Just put it out there and just see what happens.
Crap his pants. Get that big white tail on there. Their monster one.
Right. No doubt.
It's cool though. As far as you talk to the realism, they do have Cole. He's the co-founder. They're the son. he gets out there and he uses them for antelope decoying, and they work well. It doesn't really reflect to that material that they use, so it's kind of nice that way. And you get them in front of a trail camera, and especially with the IR like night flash and stuff, it doesn't reflect, so it looks like the actual animal standing there in front of a trail camera. So you want to trick somebody, toss a dead nuts target in front of there, whatever it is, the grizzly, a pronghorn, whatever. Give them something wild, and they'll think it's a real animal. But
I like that.
I like that idea.
I couldn't figure it out, so I had 4 targets in my backyard in Maryland, and it's we have like, I don't know, 20 feet of yard, and then it was just a drop off into this wood line, and the bucks during the rut would cruise up and down right along the edge of our wood line there. And one morning I went out there, and I was like, I didn't hear a storm blow through that night, and I had my whitetail target was like on the ground, and the block was laying off the side, and I was like, what the hell? Like, the wind must have really got after it last night. So I put it up and put the target back on there. The next night, same thing. It was knocked over again. I was like, what in the hell? So I threw a trail camera up. I had a buck that was coming in there and fighting it, and I selected the target. Through my ear holes, you could see where his tines had actually punctured the target because he was bulldozing it. So yeah, they're.
Did you do the Vital X? Did he?
No, I didn't have the Vital X on those targets. Those are the non-Vital X series. That would have been sweet though. See if that buck would have lived or died. But they're just. The bucks were getting after them, and then I'd have does come up and hang out with the antelope and my bighorn sheep I had out there. They just walk through there and they just hang out with it like it's a real animal. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Nice.
All right. Well, I've got one more free idea, and then I'm going to start charging.
Oh gosh, here we go.
No, this one I think this is a legitimate one.
Okay, let's hear it.
Prey decoys, like you do a lifelike rabbit or fox or fawn or whatever for all the predator hunters out there.
Yeah, around here that'd be handy.
Put that out there with your call.
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty sweet.
All right, I'm writing that one down. That's the first good idea I've heard.
Hey, that's the first one he's written down.
Right? Or even you could do a coyote.
You could do a coyote.
Because you could use that as a decoy and or
A target.
a target as well.
Right.
It's dual purpose.
There you go.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are full of ideas.
All right.
Right?
Keep them coming. I got the notepad handy here. No, you talked earlier about new animals. So yeah, we like I said, moose has been in discussion. Possibly caribou's been in discussion. Coyote, you guys just mentioned that one. That one's been in discussion. So there may or may not be some new things coming down the pike. Release dates are a little bit tentative. Like I said, there's a lot more than what you would think design work that goes into the background of a new animal. So a lot of it has to do with that. And then once they've got that down, then it's kind of fine tuning the printing and everything that goes into getting it on the material and into the production line. But then it's on to the with the new Vital X stuff as well. Currently, the Vital X offerings are limited to the broadside only animals. They'll soon be getting them into the quartering weight, quartering 2 in the elk case. So you'll see those get expanded as well. But then, like I said, new targets, once that's in development too, they'll have 2 different options, one with and without Vital X as of right now. So a little bit of production time in there, but there are some new stuff coming.
Yeah, that's cool.
So do they offer the Vital X on the black bear, or do they plan to?
Yeah, they do. Yep.
It is on the black.
Because do we have one of those targets?
Yes, we do. The
I
last
want that
target, the last targets that we got in were all Vital X.
Really?
So
on the black bear, I think it's critical. Because the kill zone on those things is kind of in a weird position.
It is, yeah. It's totally different than shooting a deer, and that's really where, in my opinion, it shines. We most of us, at least grew up, started hunting deer. Unless you're truly like from the western part of the country, maybe sort of broke your teeth on elk or something. But we all kind of have that vision of where we need to shoot an elk or a whitetail or a mule deer. It's all kind of that same general location, but black bear's different for sure.
Right.
You get a lot of outfitters. Working the outfitter side of things for different companies in the past. It's you get a lot of outfitters that offer bear hunting, and it's very surprising how many hunters screw that up. They get up there and they shoot a bear where they just are mentally trained to shoot, like on a whitetail, and a lot of bears either go injured and maybe live, maybe don't, but a lot of hunters draw blood and don't come home with something because they wound a lot more bears than they kill because they just shoot them just a little too far forward.
Right. Sounds like a good marketing, tool there for these bear outfitters.
Yeah, absolutely.
To teach these people where to hit with that Vital X.
Yep.
And even the turkey has Vital X.
Really?
too.
I didn't know the turkey had Vital X.
Yeah.
I might need that too.
I know. Well, on the 3D target, I always screw that one up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, that and the other 27.
Yeah, all the other targets too.
Yeah, all the other targets too. That's funny. That's funny. I was ahead of you for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Dean. Just challenge him to a 2D competition. You'll shine.
Right? Exactly. Exactly.
Well, we do have another archery event coming up on the 2nd.
Is it this? Yes.
2nd or the 3rd? And we'll have Deadnuts there again. We'll be giving away another target, and we'll have the challenge again.
Yep. Yep. The 2nd, August 2nd.
Right.
Very cool, man.
We'll see. We'll do another challenge. All 3 of us. See who can get that heart better.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, you can't even get away from the guts.
Yeah, nobody can. Those holes back there, I blamed on my son. It's like, I was like,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys ought to take a video of you guys shooting that challenge. We'll make sure to get it on our social media too. We just got done doing a huge huge planning deal for all of our email marketing, and we got a MDHA call out one coming out. I think it's actually in July. But if you guys have a cool video of that, if it's shooting something on the 2nd or 3rd there, make sure you get that over to it. We'll get that in that email too to get out to everybody.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Definitely remember to take some videos and photos. And
Yeah, we can do something like that.
For sure.
Awesome.
Well, I think we've covered pretty much everything on our list, but is there anything you want to add about Deadnuts or yourself or why Dean is the worst?
The best.
I can think of something that we forgot to talk about.
Yeah.
Aaron has his very own podcast.
That's true.
Oh, boy.
And I think people should check it out and follow it.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah.
What is it, Dean?
Promotion.
Praying and slaying.
That's right.
Right.
Praying and slaying.
I had to
podcast.
find it under the other ones, though.
Oh, Light the Fire Outdoors.
Light the Fire Outdoors. That's how I found them. So
Yeah, man.
check it out. I mean,
No, I appreciate that.
yeah, you just had Chris Ham on there the other day.
Yeah.
That had to be a good
That was
one.
really cool, man.
I wanted to listen. Yeah, I wanted to listen to it today, but I just didn't get a chance with the meetings and stuff. But I'm going to definitely check it out.
Work gets in the way of a lot of things.
I know. I can listen while I work, Jared.
No, I really appreciate you guys calling that out, man. Yeah, so Light the Fire Outdoors, just me being a veteran myself, it's something I did a long time ago. I set it up as a business. It was just one of those opportunities, I guess, to use my outdoors stuff at the time when I was a park ranger. I kind of started as like a side business with the idea that I'd throw my hunts on YouTube and maybe build a small audience to sell some merch. And the whole goal would be to kick back the proceeds from whatever we'd end up making from that to veterans and conservation organizations. So that was the goal of it. And then actually when I stepped away from my full-time gig in the industry last September, I jumped into that and decided to do that more full-time. So yeah, Light the Fire Outdoors is actually the business we're running here, and that's how I'm helping out Deadnuts is through that. And then the Praying and Slaying podcast is something that I kicked off a while back. It's taken several different shapes, but took it more seriously here moving into after last September, making it more full-time, and had a bunch of guests that I couldn't even have thought of being on there. It's been a really cool thing. But yeah, same thing. Praying and Slaying is all about veterans, conservation, and outdoors community. So all of your guests you're going to find on there. I'm hoping to have Dean or maybe all 3 of you guys on individually or in one podcast to talk about MDHA and just share some cool hunting stories and talk to some cool dudes that are in the conservation space. Just had Bailey Taylor from NWTF on. So we got the Operation Conservation is podcast dedicated to folks in your guys' seats that are in the conservation world, and tell us about your organization, what you do, kind of all your unique roles, and then again, share hunting stories. Operation Hunt is where we get veterans on, same thing, talk about your military history, and then tell some cool hunting stories. And then just the general, we got a couple other episode series that we'll be doing. Working into the mix of just cool people in the outdoors world telling hunting stories, man, because I think there's one thing all of us love, and it's just a good old-fashioned hunting story. And if we get to call out some veterans and folks in that conservation space along the way, all the better. And yeah, you mentioned Chris Ham, man. I got an inbox message from him on Facebook, and I didn't know who Chris was. Just a guy that reached out named Chris, and he said, "Hey, saw your podcast the other day on Facebook. Tell me a little bit about it." So I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then I Googled who he was, and I was like, "Oh, Chris Ham, HHA."
Wow.
I was like, "No way, that's pretty cool." You know?
Yeah.
And so I got on the phone with him. He asked if he could call me and just to learn about what we were doing. And he's got HHA USA is an organization that he started alongside of obviously HHA Sports, the bow sight company, and it's his just just extreme heartfelt mission to help out veterans, and however he can. And so he started HHA USA, and they put on a ton of really cool events across. I think Wisconsin's kind of the primary hub, but they do a handful around the country, and they fly vets out, and they just get to go have a day or two of camaraderie and shooting bows, and they get to tour things like the Vortex Factory, and just put on a really cool, just camaraderie based event and get like-minded folks together to have fun, shoot bows, and just kind of support each other through that. And they've done, I can't remember what the name of it is, and I feel bad about it, but they do, he supports some they fly vets out to go tour things like the World Trade Center, Ground Zero, and some other things like that too. So they support, they call it Operation and followed by a number. And it's where they fly vets out. They get a whole plane load of them, and they take them out, and they fund that full trip. And just kind of, for vets that are serving after 9/11, kind of, where it all started and things like that. And then through that, man, through Chris, I've gotten introduced to so many cool people in this outdoors, like archery space specifically. I just had Index Archery on. They're another nonprofit dedicated to getting vets out through like therapeutic archery. And so they take vets that, maybe have never shot a bow before and get a bow in their hands and get them fully outfitted, which we're sponsoring through Light Fire Outdoors, a couple of those this year, to help outfit the bows with the gear that they need to get into shooting, and just give vets an outlet to go out and, deal with some things that are on their mind a little bit more healthy than, through a bottle or something like that. So, yeah, just
absolutely.
Chris was pretty mindful. That was one of those like aha moments. Like, okay, I feel, I felt like I wanted to do this podcast and give a mission behind it. And then you get someone like that finds you through it, and you're like, okay, like this has got some steam behind it. Let's keep going. So.
Yeah, Chris is a good guy. We worked with him for, way back in the day.
Yeah,
with True Friends Outdoors.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a great guy, and I haven't talked to him in a long time. But when I saw him on your podcast, I was like, awesome. That's what he's been doing to keep busy, because I haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah, I guess he had a podcast of his own there for a while, and he said he stopped doing it after a little bit. But to find a guy that's just got a heart for serving people, it's pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah, so check out Aaron's podcast. Obviously, it's doing great things. It's for a great mission.
Maybe one of these days we'll be on there.
Yeah, you will.
Right.
Hopefully, gotta get that schedule going. Yeah, you bet.
For sure.
Right.
You're gonna fly us down to Texas for a hog hunt.
Yeah, you guys will be the first, man. Yeah, that's one of those other ideas I'm gonna write down over here.
That's a great idea, Jared. I like it.
Okay. Yeah, it's in the idea book.
You do that, I will bring you a Deadnuts target.
Okay, it's done. Well,
there's another idea for a Deadnuts target: a hog.
A hog. There you go.
Right. Boom.
Just keep your eyes open, boys.
These are so hard to think
It could
of.
be just around the next corner. You don't know. It could be.
Awesome.
You don't play poker, do you, Aaron?
Not well. About like my golf career. I think I've golfed 4 times in my life.
Solid.
Oh, man. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Yeah, putting up with us.
Yeah, man, it's been fun.
Right. And saying all those nice things we paid you to say about Dean. We appreciate it.
He needed the morale.
Well, somebody had to.
I did.
Dean, right? Like we usually spend about an hour on the phone, and 45 minutes of it is him just offloading all this crap you guys dump on him.
Yep.
And then we finally get to business the last 15 minutes. So if you guys would just lay off just a little bit, I think he could probably produce more.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Exactly.
Still wouldn't be much.
We appreciate you providing that outlet for him.
That's what we're here for, baby. Let's go.
Yes, I appreciate everything you do.
I'll send you that.
Absolutely.
I'll send you this next month's invoice here with the holiday. I want to make sure it gets out to you guys.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Right. Yeah, no, but thanks for coming on, and always good to talk to you. And be sure to check out Deadnuts Outdoors.
Right.
At deadnutsoutdoors.com.
Light the fire.
And Light the Fire Outdoors Praying and Slaying podcast.
Right.
Yeah, man.
On YouTube. That's where I found it.
Yep. Yeah, awesome, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
thanks for coming on. Minbow, member-driven, bow hunter focused. Join today at mnbowhunters.com.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association has been building our hunting and conservation legacy over the past 40 plus years through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation in Minnesota for Minnesota.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and wolf.report proudly sponsor this podcast. However, please note that the opinions, topics, and guests featured may not necessarily align with the views, beliefs, goals, or mission of our sponsors.